In a league that constantly champions player safety, that meticulously crafts rules to protect its most valuable assets, and that prides itself on maintaining the integrity of the game, are we truly seeing justice served when a blatant, dangerous act against the sport's premier talent is met with little more than a dismissive flick of the wrist? Or has the NHL, in its latest disciplinary ruling, inadvertently sent a chilling message that the safety of its superstars might not be as paramount as we're led to believe? The ice, a canvas for breathtaking artistry and brutal physicality, often bears witness to moments that transcend the ordinary. But sometimes it also hosts incidents that leave fans, analysts, and even fellow players scratching their heads, questioning the very foundations of fairness and protection. Such was the case this past Saturday when the hockey world watched in a mixture of disbelief and growing indignation as Vancouver Canucks defenseman Tyler Myers delivered a controversial and frankly shocking blow to Edmonton Oilers captain Connor McDavid. This wasn't a missed check, a battle for the puck, or a legitimate hockey play gone awry. This was something far more insidious, an act that has now sparked a furious debate about intent, player safety, and the true cost of a slashing penalty in the National Hockey League. The incident unfolded in the midst of the third period, a critical juncture in a hard-fought game. McDavid, the undisputed wizard of the ice, was doing what he does best, skating with unparalleled grace and speed, driving towards the net even without the puck on his stick. He's a magnet for attention, a player whose mere presence demands respect and often draws the ire of opponents desperate to slow him down. But what transpired next was beyond the pale. Myers, the towering 6'8" defenseman, turned, his stick held high, and swung it with undeniable force directly upwards between McDavid's legs. The impact was so severe, so jarring, that it visibly lifted the Oilers' captain off the ice, a clear and unmistakable signal of the power behind the blow. The immediate aftermath was perhaps the most perplexing aspect of the live action. In a game often scrutinized down to the millisecond by multiple officials, this egregious act went completely unnoticed by the referees on the ice. No whistle blew, no arm was raised, no penalty was assessed. It was as if the incident, which left countless viewers aghast, simply didn't happen in the eyes of those tasked with upholding the rules. Myers, ironically, would find himself in the penalty box less than a minute later for a delay of game infraction, a minor penalty that felt almost comically disconnected from the far more serious offense he had just committed. The lack of an immediate call only amplified the frustration, leaving a bitter taste in the mouths of those who believe that such blatant acts against the league's marquee players should be met with swift and decisive action. The hockey world held its breath, waiting for the inevitable intervention from the NHL's Department of Player Safety. Surely, they reasoned, an act of such clear intent and potential for harm against a player of McDavid's stature would warrant a significant response. The anticipation built through Sunday, with fans and pundits alike speculating on the severity of the impending punishment. Would it be a suspension? A hefty fine? A clear message that such actions would not be tolerated? Then, the verdict dropped. On Sunday afternoon, the Department of Player Safety announced its decision. Tyler Myers was fined a mere $2,500 for what they officially termed a slash at 8:25 of the third period. A slash? The word itself felt inadequate, almost insulting, given the visual evidence. A slash typically implies a strike to the stick or the body, often in an attempt to dislodge the puck or impede progress. What Myers delivered was a targeted, upward thrust to a highly sensitive and vulnerable area, an act that carried a far greater potential for serious injury than a conventional slash. The financial penalty, a paltry $2,500, immediately became the focal point of a collective groan across the hockey landscape. For a player like Myers, who commands a substantial $3 million annual salary, this fine represents less than 1/10 of 1% of his yearly earnings. To put that into perspective, it's the equivalent of someone earning $50,000 a year being fined $4.17. It's a sum that, for a professional athlete, is barely a rounding error, a minor inconvenience, rather than a deterrent. This perceived leniency immediately ignited a firestorm of criticism. How could the league, which has invested so heavily in campaigns promoting player safety, and has often come down hard on hits to the head or other dangerous plays, issues such a negligible punishment for an act that appeared to be so deliberately malicious and potentially debilitating. The collective bargaining agreement dictates that $2,500 is the maximum allowable fine for such an indiscretion, a clause that now feels woefully outdated and insufficient in the face of modern hockey's realities. While the money will go to the player's emergency assistance fund, a noble cause, it does little to assuage the feeling that the punishment simply doesn't fit the crime. It raises uncomfortable questions about the league's priorities. Is the protection of its most marketable stars truly a top concern, or is the system inherently limited in its ability to deliver meaningful consequences for certain types of dangerous plays? Adding another layer to this already contentious narrative is Myers' behavior throughout the game. This wasn't an isolated moment of aggression. Earlier in the contest, he had already been involved in a skirmish with McDavid near the crease, a precursor to the later incident. He then absorbed a heavy hit from Leon Draisaitl, McDavid's formidable teammate, and dished one out to Trent Frederic. This pattern of engagement, of being consistently in the thick of physical confrontations, paints a picture of a player perhaps operating on the edge, pushing boundaries. And in a bizarre twist that further underscored his agitated state, as Myers made his way to the penalty box for his minor delay of game penalty, he even delivered a casual, yet unmistakable, tap to the head of an on-ice official with his stick. While seemingly innocuous, it was another small detail that contributed to the perception of a player whose composure might have been slipping. Through it all, Connor McDavid, the target of Myers' controversial act, maintained his characteristic composure. He is, after all, a player who has faced countless attempts to slow him down legally and illegally throughout his career. He finished the game with an assist, logging a remarkable 2,400 hours, 29 of ice time, and played a crucial role in securing Edmonton's first victory of the season, a 3-1 triumph. His ability to rise above the provocation, to channel his focus into performance, is a testament to his elite professionalism and mental fortitude. But his composure shouldn't overshadow the seriousness of the incident. It shouldn't be interpreted as a sign that the blow was inconsequential. McDavid's continued excellence is a gift to the game, and protecting players of his caliber from such dangerous acts should be a non-negotiable priority for the league. This incident and the subsequent ruling forces us to confront a critical question. What message does this send? Does it tell players that they can target opponents, even in vulnerable areas with minimal financial repercussions, especially if the act goes uncalled by the on-ice officials? Does it undermine the NHL's stated commitment to player safety, particularly for the stars who drive the league's popularity and revenue? The maximum fine under the CBA, while legally binding, feels like a relic from a bygone era, failing to account for the escalating salaries and the increased scrutiny on player welfare in today's game. If the league is truly serious about protecting its athletes, especially those who represent the pinnacle of the sport, then perhaps the collective bargaining agreement itself needs to be re-evaluated to allow for more impactful disciplinary measures in cases of clear intent and dangerous play. The stage is now set for a highly anticipated rematch between these two fierce rivals on October 26th in Vancouver. Tyler Myers will be back in action with the Canucks, facing the St. Louis Blues on Monday, undoubtedly under intense scrutiny. But the lingering question won't be about his next shift, it will be about the broader implications of this ruling. It will be about whether the NHL is truly doing enough to safeguard its players, or if the pursuit of competitive intensity sometimes overshadows the fundamental responsibility to protect those who make the game so spectacular. This isn't just about a fine, it's about the integrity of the game and the safety of its most precious talents. What are your thoughts on the NHL's decision? Do you believe the punishment was sufficient? Or does it leave you feeling that the league missed an opportunity to send a stronger message? Let us know in the comments below. And if this report sparked a conversation for you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis and exclusive insights into the world of sports.